So, I was asked on the forum to talk about games that are in genres and sort of things that I'm not super interested in, but then I ended up really loving the game. And it's a tough question to answer. It's tough to think of every game I've played and what elements there are of games I don't like, or genres I don't like, because mostly I like everything, but I think if I had to say genres I don't like, I'm not really into the open world games. I'm not really into puzzle games very much, or stealth. I just don't have the patience for stealth games. And the other genre I would say is like roguelikes, although I don't know if I have any examples of roguelikes that I liked. I like a beginning, middle, and end, and procedural sort of, and then the procedural games where there's just sort of infinite things to do. I get, I don't feel that drive to complete the game. So I don't have any examples for that. I also don't like MMOs. Don't have any examples for that. But let me start with the examples I do have. So, for puzzle games, I think that the one that impressed me the most, at least recently, was BioShock Infinite Industrial Revolution. And if you're not familiar with it, it is a web-based Flash game developed by Rob Yagnow, who did the Cogs, and his current ARG is Extra Solar, and you should definitely check him out. Check it out. He's a really brilliant developer and did an awesome job. And Industrial Revolution I actually liked better than BioShock Infinite, which I'm sure it's like blasphemy, but it was just really clever puzzle game. I don't really know. I was able to solve the puzzles, but I never really, completely understood the underlying systems to the point where it was like, oh, this is easy, this is all I have to do, and so the puzzles weren't very challenging, but I really felt smart every time I solved one, and basically the premise is, and it's been a while since I played it, but you have certain size gears, and I think maybe some pulleys and things like that, and there's an arrangement of pegs, and so you have to get one end to turn and then have it turn the start and the end. And so even with such a simple, number of mechanics, it was able to do some really clever and interesting things. And overall, it's a relatively short game. I don't know, I probably got through it in an hour or two. But I couldn't stop playing it. My wife's like, "Are you still playing that Flash game?" I'm like, I gotta keep playing, do whatever you want, I'm playing. And I don't think it actually requires you to do that, to play. So, more puzzle games. Let's see, Bomberman 64. I loved this game. I haven't played it in many years. I guess it came out in '97, but this was one of my favorite N64 games. And if you're a Bomberman purist, which I was not, then you probably hated this game because it's completely different. But I thought they had really clever puzzles. It's like a 3D puzzle platformer for the single player. And then the multiplayer is really cool too. Again, it's 3D and it's not the classic Bomberman. I liked the multiplayer in this a bit better than classic Bomberman, because I always blow myself up in 5 seconds in classic Bomberman. Although I do have the Bomberman for Saturn, which is the best one, because you can do 8 players or 10 players or something. I think Saturn Bomberman. So that one's cool. That's my second favorite Bomberman. But and I guess I can't talk too much about what was so great about Bomberman 64, because I haven't played it in many years, but you had to do, puzzles, pump up bombs, and then you could bounce on them, and it was a really interesting game. And the other interesting game, that's sort of a puzzle game, I don't really know how to explain Blast Corps other than it's amazing. And it's really unique, and no one has ever done anything like it. And I wish Microsoft, now that they own Rare, would bring Blast Corps back or something. I mean, even a Blast Corps, emulation with terrible N64 graphics running on Xbox, whatever, would be awesome. The game is the premise is very contrived. There's a nuclear missile thing that's stuck on a path. It can't turn. It just has to move in a straight line. And so you're tasked with a number of different vehicles. There's like a mech. There's like a bulldozer. There's a dump truck, a motorcycle with rockets. And so you have these different vehicles, and you have to essentially destroy a path in front of the thing. And so, sometimes you have to pick the right vehicle and figure out the right way to do it. Maybe it's not much of a puzzle game in hindsight. I guess I really don't remember what sort of... I mean, it doesn't really fit into a genre. It's just sort of a unique and really cool idea. And so... I don't know. If you have an N64, definitely check out Blast Core. So I guess maybe that wasn't the best example, now that I think about it, but, I mean, it does kind of have a puzzle feel, but it's also, like, driving, you have to, like, do power slides with the dump truck to take out buildings, and, I don't know, it just, was awesome, and just hasn't been done since, so... I don't know, maybe that wasn't the best example, but you never need an excuse to talk about a good game. So, another genre I don't like is stealth, and so I really loved the Sly series. And I don't know, again, maybe I'm cheating, because many people would say that the Sly series was more about platforming, which could be true, and I do love platformers. But although I'm getting a little tired of, like, puzzle platformers in the indie space, there's so many of those, so if you're making an indie game, maybe don't make a puzzle platformer, try and go against the grain. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he teaches, and he was saying, like, oh, everyone just wants to make puzzle platformers, like, why can't you, try and make something else, and certainly, I always wanted to work on a platformer, but now since, I'm indie, and that's sort of the indie thing, I don't want to, because, it'd be so hard to stand out, against, like, Limbo or Braid or all the other cool ones, or Super Meat Boy, so, I don't know if I'll ever get to work on a platformer, but that's okay. I like working on horror. But anyway, back to Sly, the stealth was really, really, really forgiving, and the cool part about Sly that I think they did a really good job on is recreating the heist feeling of, heist movies where they have an elaborate plan and people have to serve as a distraction and gizmos and gadgets, and so, like, a lot of the missions are framed as these heists, and so, even if I'm not nuts about the stealth mechanics, I think that the cool framing of the heist just really gets me involved in the game, and I want to, solve it and complete the heist. That's that. I think in terms of other stealth games, I think Amnesia certainly had stealth mechanics, and I enjoyed that, although, again, that's probably cheating because it's definitely more of a horror game. In the open world genre, I don't have many good examples, except for maybe, like, Deadly Premonition. Had a very open-worldy feel because, you had all those missions, and I 100%ed it. It took me like 40, 50 hours. It was very few games that I played, over like 20 hours. Usually, like, I try and steer away from long games, but I just love Deadly Premonition. Again, maybe it's a horror game, maybe it's a small town simulator, I don't know, but I really enjoyed Deadly Premonition. I think the quirk and the world. Again, it was a world I really wanted to be in. So, I mean, most open world games are not worlds that I'm interested in being in. The other example is Dead Rising 3. I did almost every mission. I think the smart glass integration was not working for me on the last one for that. But Dead Rising 3 probably I played less because it was a really amazing game, and more because it was a really impressive technology. It's the only, next gen game that I felt like couldn't really be done on the previous gen, just because of the huge counts of zombies. And I just loved getting this motorcycle with a steamroller front wheel and just like mowing over thousands of zombies. I think my kill count in the game was like, I don't know, 60,000 zombies or something like that. So that was really cool. So, I don't know, maybe I should have talked about them more in depth and what they did great. But, I don't know, I figured I would try and say a whole bunch of games that I thought were cool, and I don't know, hopefully that's interesting to someone. So, thanks for watching.